Now we're on to chapter 7 homework, and that particular chapter is looking at what's known as consumer surplus and producer surplus. So before looking at the homework questions, I just want to quickly review those ideas. So we'll just use our PowerPoint slides, and just as a reminder, consumer surplus is going to be from the consumer's point of view. That's the reason it's called consumer surplus. And it's going to refer to the demand curve. So remember, when price is determined in the market, it's generally, everything we'll be doing anyway, is always determined by the market equilibrium. So if, for example, the price is set, let's say, in the market at $5, what this means is that everybody is going to pay $5 for this product. So in this case, the quantity demanded would be 20. But here's the thing. We have the 19th person, the 18th, the 17th, the 16th, the 10th, and so forth. All of these people prior to over here at the 20th, they're actually willing to pay a higher price than $5. This is higher than 5. This is higher than 5. And so what consumer surplus represents in a nutshell is everything below demand and above the equilibrium price. So our consumer surplus would be this triangle right here when we're using a straight line. So consumer surplus is the benefit the consumer reaps from a market economy, reaps or gets from a market economy, because there are so many people that actually would have paid a higher price than they otherwise have to. Producer surplus is the same idea, only this is from the firm's point of view, and they too can reap benefits from the market as well. And so in this situation, we'll stick with the equilibrium price being $5, so quantity supply will be 20. But notice, just as with the consumer surplus, everyone before this number 20, they would have put out the unit here, right here, below 5, but they're going to get 5 for that unit. At this place here, they would have put the unit out, this unit out, below 5, but they get 5. So everything in this case below your equilibrium and above your supply curve, this triangle, represents the producer surplus. So the producer surplus is the benefit the firm reaps or gets from a market economy. So you want to, really review and look at these couple slides before moving on to the homework. All right, so this question doesn't even have you use the supply and demand curve at this point. You're just told Yvette buys an iPhone for $150 and gets a consumer surplus of $200. So what you want to do with this question is kind of say to yourself, okay, what does this even mean? So she buys a phone for $150, so that's what she actually paid. And then on top of that, it's telling you she gets a consumer surplus of $200. So remember, the consumer surplus is what the benefit that you reap. So she reaps $200 of benefit in addition to what she actually paid. So that should help you what she'd be willing to pay here. Then it says, if she had bought the iPhone on sale for $100, so rather than paying $150, she only had to pay $100, what would that have done to her actual consumer surplus? And then the last part says, what if the price of the iPhone had been $370? What would have happened then? So be careful with this one and think that one through. Okay, moving along. So the second part of the question, this is another one of those where you're going to have to start, using your mouse and shifting the curves. So remember, whenever you have the diagram and you have to start moving, you're going to use your mouse, your right click, and then you'll move whatever is necessary. So this is kind of a combination of shifting supply and or demand and then how it impacts the surplus. So this says, exceptionally good weather conditions result in a huge apple harvest. So that's saying that there was a big production of or additional apple harvest, more than usual because of the great weather. So the question is that a supply increase or a demand increase? So remember, this is production, so firms have to do with production. So then the question is saying, okay, once you make that shift, what's going to actually happen to the consumer surplus in the market for apples? So you need to make the shift and then take a look at the diagram. And then it's asking you here to actually illustrate the effect of the price change of apples, what would happen in the market. I think you'll be able to do that. The next question is very similar, only the situation is slightly different. So this one says, it straight up tells you, suppose the demand for tomato juice falls. So that would mean it's a decrease in the demand curve. So remember, decreases in demand, shift to the left. So you'll want to go through like you just did on the other question and look at, okay, what happens to those areas, producer and consumer surplus. The next question, when you have a problem like this, you want to make sure that you do both parts. So this means there's a set of questions here, and then once you've done this set of questions, you'll click to, and it will take you to the second set of questions. But it's all relating to this one particular problem. I don't think I need to give you any particular hints here. This is just a matter of continuing on with what you've done in the previous questions. You're going to read the question, determine what's going to shift here, and then how that will then impact the consumer and producer surpluses. So again, the only thing I'm going to caution you on is to make sure that you go to that second section. And I think that's it for this particular homework.